Hey friends, this week in reading we are taking a look at a new genre, and that genre that we're looking at is called poetry. Poetry is a genre that's full of a lot of emotions. Poems can sometimes be really happy, they can sometimes be really sad, they can even sometimes be really funny. Poems can also tell us stories, sometimes just like the books that we read. Poems also can be put to music, and then they turn into our favorite songs. Pretty cool, huh? This week in reading, you're going to be reading a new poem every day. And as you're reading these poems, I have four things that I want for you to be looking for. The first thing is the title, second is the stanzas, lines, and rhyming words. Let's see if we can find those four things in our first poem for this week. So, our first poem for this week is titled Spring Showers, and it is by Create, Dream, Explore. Now, when I found the title of my poem, I underlined it Spring Showers. The next thing that I looked for were my stanzas. Stanzas are kind of like paragraphs that are in the books that we read. If I look here, I notice I have a little space between each of these lines. That's because that little space is separating my stanzas. So I took my pink marker and I numbered my stanzas and put a circle around them. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. The next thing that I numbered were my lines. The lines are the lines that make up my stanza. And I chose to number my lines with a purple marker. So I have line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So, in your poems this week, the first three things that you're going to be looking for and you're going to do on your poems is underline your title, number your stanzas, and number your lines. Now, the last thing that you're going to be doing on your poems this week is you're going to be looking for the rhyming words. Now let's take a second and let's review. How do we know when two words rhyme? Is it when they sound the same at the beginning or when they sound the same at the end of the word? You're right, at the end of the word. For example, hat and cat both end in the sounds at. Therefore, those two words rhyme. So in your poems this week, you're going to be looking for rhyming words. Not all poems have rhyming words, but most of them do. And each poem that you read this week will have rhyming words in it. I'm going to read my poem 2 times, and I want for you to do the same. The first time that I read my poem, I'm going to be listening for those rhyming words. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to listen for them. Then the second time that I read it, when I come to those rhyming words, I'm going to box them in. So first time I'm listening, second time I'm going to box those rhyming words in. As I read my poem for the first time today, I would love for you to be listening along to see if you can find those rhyming words. And then when I go to read it the second time, I'm going to need your help to help me find them in my poem. Here we go. Spring showers. Pitter patter, drip, drip, drop. The rain came down like someone wringing out a mop. Pitter patter, splish, splish, splash. We heard thunder and lightning, a boom and a crash. Pitter patter, glip, glop, glop. We sloshed through the mud until the last drop. Pitter patter, where did you go? The sun was shining so bright it made a big rainbow. Did you hear rhyming words in that poem? Me too. Let's see if we can find them. Here we go. Let's take a look at just stanza 1. pitter patter, drip, drip, drop. Any rhyming words yet? Not yet. Let's take a look at stanza 2. The rain came down like someone wringing out a mop. Did you hear words that rhymed? You did. What 2 words did you hear? Did you say drop and mop? I agree. So I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to box in drop and mop. Now let's take a look at the next stanza. Pitter patter, splish, splish, splash. Any words that rhyme yet? Not yet. Let's go to the next one. We heard thunder and lightning, a boom and a crash. Any words? What 2 words? Splash and crash. Good job. So I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to box in splash and crash. Take a look at the next 2 stanzas. Pitter patter, glip, glop, glop. We slosh through the mud until the last drop. Any 2 words there? Glop and mud? No, those 2 words don't rhyme. What about glop and drop? Do those 2 words rhyme? They sure do. So I'm going to get out my marker and I'm going to box in glop and drop. Now let's take a look at the last 2 stanzas. Pitter patter, where did you go? The sun was shining so bright it made a big rainbow. Did you hear any rhyming words in those 2 stanzas? Go and rainbow. So I'm going to box those 2 words in. Now, let's see if we can find a pattern. Do you see a pattern that the author used with their rhyming words? I noticed that every time that I had 2 words rhyme, they were the last word in the last line of 2 stanzas. So, for example, the first 2 rhyming words, the first one came at the last word of the last line of stanza 1. The second one was in the last line and the last word of stanza 2. Then when I look at the next 2 rhyming words, this one was in the last line and the last word of stanza 3. And this one was the last word of the last line in stanza 4. Something else that I noticed that this author used in their poem is repetition. Repetition is when the author repeats some of the same words over and over. Did you notice some words that the author repeated over and over in this poem? Me too, you're right. Pitter patter, pitter patter. It said it in the first line of every other stanza. Awesome job. This week, as you read your poems, I would love for your parents or your guardians to take a picture of those 4 things that you would find in your poems. Your title, stanza, lines, and rhyming words. Once you have all of those found and marked on your poems, have a parent or guardian take a picture and send it to your teacher so that we can see all of the awesome things that you're learning in your poems this week. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you all have a wonderful week.